Thanks and welcome to join me on the 6:15. I'm Kejang Henry Athimbi. Let's flag off with our top stories. A fire outbreak at the Aqua Business Center in Douala has caused widespread destruction, affecting dozens of stores and businesses. The blaze broke out in Yadouche Municipal, with flames rapidly engulfing shops and structures. And a well-coordinated raid in Tui has led to the arrest of 3 individuals suspected of cultivating cannabis. The early morning's operation by the gendarmerie uncovered a vast cannabis farm in Bam and Kim Division. And Cameroonians are watching closely as legal teams present their arguments after a Lekam struck off several names from the presidential race. The Constitutional Council is examining 35 appeals filed by disqualified presidential candidates. Top stories. Thanks and welcome. You can check on us on our respective platforms on Canal International. We begin from Aqua in Douala, that is Cameroon's economic capital, where a blistering fire outbreak at the Central Business District in Aqua has led to widespread destruction. For this has affected dozens of stores and businesses. The blaze broke out around Douche Municipal, with flames rapidly spreading and engulfing other structures. Sherifa Saleh is standing by at the Aqua Douche Municipal Business Center and now is reporting. Hello, Sherifa, what's the situation?
Hello, Kejang Henry Atembe. We are live at Aqua, precisely at the Douche Municipal Market, where a fire incident which kick-started at around 1 p.m. of today escalated to something else, where vendors lost millions of goods in with the flames. And right now, as we speak, we are still there. According to vendors, the fire, which started from one magazine, was inaccessible because the proprietor of the shop wasn't around to give access to the said magazine, which had to escalate to 10 shops and 6 houses, as you can see just behind us. Live at a Douche Market in Douala 2 subdivision, I am Sherifa Saleh and Henri Chinda for Canal International.
Sherifa Saleh, very unfortunate indeed. And in a well-coordinated raid, has led to the arrest of 3 suspects, individuals suspected of cultivating cannabis. The early morning operation led by the gendarmerie in Tui uncovered a vast cannabis farm in the Mbam and Kim division of the Central Region. Beatrice Ndamo report.
Informed that inside a plantation at Ntui, Mbam and Kim division of the Central Region, there is a cannabis farm. The gendarmerie then came out with a well-structured plan to nab them. 3 long hours from 3 to 6 a.m., the uniformed officers waited for the appropriate time and fell on them. 3 individuals were caught farming cannabis.
On a pu mettre la main sur 3 individus, principaux cultivateurs de ce champ.
Fresh green leaves, which are often dried before transforming in the shape and package they intend to send out. The activity is a big threat to the population, for after consumption, attacks and theft, the other.
Donc c'est grave, c'est vraiment grave.
This victim narrates his unpleasant loss during their activities. After smoking the cannabis beside my shop, they break in, making away with my bike and 2 bags of cocoa beans. In the face of this menace, dangerous drugs, there is high need to protect the population that is society at large. Because she is stifled by many drug traffickers and consumers. Our children of school-going age consume these drugs, which is very bad for a society moving towards development. As the Center Regional Gendarmerie boss congratulates the gendarmes for a job well done, he also extends thanks of gratitude to the population whose contribution helped them succeed, adding, the fight against criminals and criminal activities is on.
Among the 35 petitions received by the Constitutional Council, 3 have been filed by Kiso Beteng alone. The first demanding his candidacy to be reinstated by Elections Cameroon. The second requesting the disqualification of Paul Biya from the presidential race. And the last is like a tackle on members of the Constitutional Council. Maurice Kamto of Manidem also count 2 appeals against Elekam and the Ministry of Territorial Administration, contesting the decision of July 26, 2025, with the publication of the list of candidates, and demanding the annulment to permit the candidate get back to the list. His Manidem counterpart, Dieudonné Yebga, has also tabled his, seeking acceptance as a presidential candidate. Leon Tele Onana with just 1 petition, but against 3 different structures, the CPDM, Elekam and Minad, a partial contestation of the Elekam decision that flushed him out of the presidential race in favor of Paul Biya as the candidate of the ruling party. Christian Mulend of the MP party will be up against his party comrade, Zipan Hile, that his earlier approved candidacy is rejected by the Constitutional Council. Pierre Baliget Nkod with 1 petition against Elekam, Minat, Jean Bayebek, Yamp Timba Dominique, and Abdurrahman Baba Amadou, the different candidates endorsed by the 3 fractions of the UPC, which led to the automatic disqualification of the historic party from the October 12 presidential election. Eyem Eboko Pierre-Joseph of the MPCN is up against Shewa David, describing him as an unknown militant who popped off from nowhere to jeopardize his chances of being selected by the Electoral Board. And in what appears like a ping-pong game, Shewa David has also filed an appeal against the latter as a stumbling block to his candidacy. Among the disgruntled individuals is Robert Kona, whose petition against the PCRN, Elekam and Minad is requesting for the annulment of a fraudulent presidential candidate. A good number of independent aspirants flushed out by the Electoral Board for not meeting the requirements of 300 signatures, non-payment of the 30 million caution deposit, among other numerous motives, are also hoping to have results from the Constitutional Council.
We're sorry for that mix-up. That was Hashim Chia reporting there on the Constitutional Council, as Cameroonians are watching very closely as the legal teams present their arguments after Elekam struck off the names of several presidential hopefuls. And as we got from that report, 35 appeals have been filed by disqualified presidential candidates. Now, as the presidential petitions pile up, security or scrutiny is growing over the Constitutional Council's track record. A deep dive into past rulings reveals a clear pattern. High-profile election disputes are routinely dismissed, and Abog Dali's Dibang is taking a look on what that means on justice and democracy. Gladys.
Since its establishment in February 2018, the Constitutional Council has handled a total of 133 electoral dispute rulings, the vast majority linked to legislative, senatorial, and presidential elections. But its most scrutinized performance came during the 2018 presidential race, often described as its baptism of fire. That year, 18 post-election complaints were submitted, including high-profile petitions from opposition leaders Maurice Kamto of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, Joshua Ossi of the Social Democratic Front, and Cabral Libi of Universe. Kamto demanded the annulment of results in 7 regions, citing irregularities. Ossi and Libi also called for total cancellation, alleging widespread fraud and procedural violations. but the council, led by Clement Atangana, rejected every single request. That same fate awaited other candidates like Olivier Belly, whose plea to pay a delayed bill was swiftly dismissed. It seems to be a trend that echoes past rulings, even before the Constitutional Council's creation. When the Supreme Court played that rule, decisions rarely favored complainants. In the 2011 presidential race, 15 out of 18 appeals were rejected, with the remaining 3 withdrawn. With 35 appeals already filed for the upcoming presidential poll, all eyes are once again on the Constitutional Council. But if history is any guide, few expect any surprises.
And almost elusive, but at the end of the day, he will be the final judge. That is Clement Atangana. His face is familiar, his name sometimes feared. Clement Atangana, president of the Constitutional Council, embodies that supreme justice perched at the top of the institutional structure. A calm and methodical man, he presides over an arena where law often flirts with politics. Since his appointment in February 2018, the responsibility of validating presidential election results has fallen on his shoulders, interpreting the law when uncertainty arises, making rulings when tempers flare. A judge, a referee, sometimes a shield. A career magistrate schooled in silence and discipline, Clement Atangana graduated from ENAM in 1969 alongside Laurent Esso and knows the inner workings of Cameroon's judiciary like the back of his hand. With 56 years in the rope, many of them as head of courts and appeal courts, then president of the administrative bench of the Supreme Court, he eventually rose to the most sensitive seat in the Republic. Within the Constitutional Council, he presides over hearings with Olympian calm, unmoved of those living legal encyclopedias, the lawyers and the unshaken. Even when appeals are loaded with political tension, he listens, takes notes and rules. A restrained, almost clinical style that reveals nothing of his inner thoughts. But behind the rope, the man remains divisive. Too close to power, some say. A guardian of the status quo, others whisper. He never responds. Clement Atangana prefers to let the law plead its own case. As the nation holds its breath, awaiting the final list of presidential candidates, Clement Atangana is preparing his ground, that of the law, of the legal text, and of calculated silence. In this high-stakes election, he will not be a candidate, but will be the one who ultimately proclaims the true winner. And with elections looming, journalists and local language broadcasters have been drilled and to be familiar with the electoral process and, of course, mobilize against what is known as hate speech. Morindi takes a look at the campaign that has been launched on hate speech.
At a time when misinformation is rapidly reshaping public opinion and threatening social cohesion, Cameroon is turning to one of its most trusted local platforms, community radio. 50 radio hosts and managers drawn from all 10 regions of the country are meeting in Douala for a 4-day capacity building workshop focused on civic education, media and information literacy and the fight against hate speech.
We have simply included the topic of election coverage in relation to civic engagement and the fight against disinformation. Community radios have the advantage of broadcasting in local languages that resonate with the audiences. That is why we want to ensure they are all well equipped to effectively counter disinformation, especially that which circulates on social media.
The training comes under the project to support local development through community radios launched in 2024 as part of the country's National Development Strategy for 2030. Participants are being equipped with tools to identify and counter disinformation, especially in the context of elections, and to produce engaging content that promotes peace, multiculturalism, and civic responsibility.
We sometimes face challenges because disseminating certain information exposes us to hostility. During elections, this becomes even more sensitive, which is why this training is essential. There is a specific way we need to report to avoid fueling tension. Often we are targeted and it feels like we live between life and death.
The United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, expect that the initiative will not only raise awareness but also strengthen Cameroon's social fabric as it prepares for key democratic milestones in the coming months.
Ambu Gladys Dupai reporting the thanks Ambu, and relentless rainfall in Cameroon's economic capital has disrupted circulation, with bad roads that are obstacled as a result of potholes. And to avert the situation, the Douala City Council has embarked on an emergency rehabilitation of some of the bad roads caused by the heavy rainfalls. Sherifa Saleh.
Potholes, crumbling roads and muddy trenches is no new thing to population in the Antrebille area in Douala 4 subdivision. It has worsened with weeks of relentless rain. The damage is severe, creating daily hazards for motorists and pedestrians alike.
Quand vous entrez dedans, vous voyez, vous sentez mal. Le soir, quand vous rentrez, vous n'êtes pas en bonne santé, hein?
A similar story unfolds along the stretch between Tunnel Ndokoti and Senkantex, where the road is pockmarked and unpredictable. Circulating here is uncomfortable. Residents in the area are left to improvise using makeshift solutions to ease their movements.
On souffre, nous voulons que ça change.
But amid the mounting frustrations, signs of intervention are emerging. On July 28, 2025, a delegation of senior municipal councillors from the Douala City Council conducted a field visit to assess ongoing rehabilitation efforts.
He has already done a lot, but much is still left to do.
The inspection continued across several critical sites in Douala. Each location was scrutinized for progress, quality and impact, with the councillors offering both praise and critique as appropriate.
La ville s'étend de plus en plus, ce qui fait que y a à faire.
With the rainy season far from over, the urgency to repair and upgrade Douala's crumbling road network has never been clearer. For residents, the hope is that these initiatives will finally bring long-term relief to a problem that resurfaces every year.
Sheriff Asal reporting there, and a new road safety initiative has been launched. It stopped Operation Zero Accidents along the major road axis in the country. Maureen D takes a look on that operation.
The campaign's launch comes on the heels of a promising statistics, a 30% reduction in road accidents compared to the same periods last year. As of July 28, 2025, 88 accidents have been recorded, down from 126 in 2024.
Il s'agit pour nous d'œuvrer, de faire en sorte qu'il y ait le moins d'accidents possible sur nos axes routiers.
Tout d'abord, on salue le professionnalisme de la gendarmerie camerounaise.
The initiative has garnered support from key stakeholders, including representatives from the Chadian Transporters Association and the departmental representative of the GTTC in Vina, Munga Dasi. Their commitment underscores a collective effort to enhance road safety and ensure the well-being of all corridor users.
Le corridor que nous avons ne sera jamais un champ de bataille pour des politiciens.
À nos partenaires, les leaders des syndicats de transporteurs routiers, de continuer la sensibilisation qui est déjà faite.
Despite the positive developments, challenges persist. Transporters have previously reported issues such as numerous checkpoints and associated delays along the corridor. The Operation Zero Accident campaign seeks to address these concerns by promoting safer driving practices and reducing unnecessary stops, thereby facilitating smoother transit. The launch of the campaign
signifies a unified commitment from both security forces and transporters to prioritize safety and efficiency on one of Central Africa's most vital transportation routes.
And more indeed, drawing the cuttings for this edition of the 6:15 with me, Kejang Henry Atimbe. Thanking you for being there with us. And Lee Page will be coming up shortly with the brief actuality from all of us. It's goodbye.